In this video, we are going to develop only admin page with get user info from identity server. As you know that we have created the only admin page button in here, but we didn't implement it yet. So in this video, we are going to develop actual code of the only admin page. And let's take an action with developing only admin page. First of all, we are going to locate with the movies client project, and we are going to create method under the movies controller. So go to controllers, open the movies controller, and on top of that I am going to implement the action. So what is the action name? You can check the action name into the layout. We have a ASP action which name is only admin. It's said that you will going to put a movies controller and movies only admin method. For that reason, I am going to creating any method. Okay. Before implementing the only admin method, I also can authorize this method. So for that reason, we are preparing this button and this action only admin roles. For that reason, I can put the authorized attribute over the method and I can specify the role name. So we said that only admin roles can be called this method and this action. So it is one of the good best practice when you are role based or making the role based authentication authorization. So now let me implement our actual operation on the admin page. We will get the user info. So how we are going to get the user info? Once we log in the system, the token taken from the identity server 4, and we can reach the user info from the identity server 4. So we will get the user information and claim information as a key value pair, and we will create a new HTML page, and we will represent the user information with the claim information at that page. So that's why let me implement some codes. As you can see that we are going to use movies API service again. We will create a new method, and we will implement this method under the movies API service. So that's why I'm using this method. We will implement this method, and we are returning the user info. We assume that we will have a user information view model, and it has the key value pairs about the claim information, and we are returning this user info view model to the view model. So in that case, we are going to create a new view model, and also we are going to create new HTML page. So let me start with creating a view model. For that reason, we have a models folder, and I am going to create a new user info model class. Right click, add new class, add the user info view model. This view model will be include our key value pairs, which is the user information and the claims. So that's why I am adding a dictionary, and the dictionary is user info dictionary. Once the view model constructed, we are setting to this dictionary. So a basic key value pair, you can set that, you can think about that. It's okay. We have developed our user info view model. Our model is ready now. So now I am going to adding the movie API service in order to get user info. Let me come here. We should implement this get user info. For that purpose, I'm going to generate the code. Yes, it is generated. Go to the iMovie service. Yes, we would like to return a view model which name is user info view model, what we have developed a few minutes before. Okay, we are expecting that the interface has a get user info, and this will return a user info view model response. So it is using the our movies controller and returning the view model, and this view model returning the page. Okay, now we can implement the actual operation. We can develop the implementation of this API service. For that purpose, let me go to the movie API service implementation. As you can see, it will get the error. Yes, now it is getting the error. We have to implement this interface and go to the methods. There should be a creating mess. At the end of the class, it is creating a get user info method. We can navigate to the first page. because let me more readable. Okay, I'm locate this method after the constructor. So we are going to implement the get user info and perform the actual operation with consuming the identity server for in here. But before we start, we have required to HTTP context accessor, because we have to inject the HTTP context accessor for getting token from the current HTTP context. For that purpose, I'm going to add new read-only item in here under the HTTP client. I would like to reach the HTTP context accessor. This will provide to access the current token and current HTTP context. That's why I am adding in here. And also, of course, we should register this parameter. I'm going to inject both of them. Okay, now our constructor and injection operation ready. We have a HTTP context accessor. We already registered this accessor under the startup. You can verify that. Go to startup and configure services, and you will see the services that add HTTP context accessor. So we don't need to register again, and we can now focus on our actual operation with using the HTTP accessor. So what we are going to do in under the get user info, first of all, we would like to create a channel, create a HTTP client with using the IDP client operation. Let me get the IDP client. IDP client is configured by the identity server configuration. We can check also startup. Go to the IDP client. Yes, as you can see that it is creating a HTTP client object with using these identity server URL operations. So now we have a identity server client, HTTP client, and we can consume this client with using the discovery operations. As we did before, we are retrieving the discovery document, but before that, of course, I should make async this method. Okay, now with this operation get discovery document async, I'm going to ask for discovery document from the identity server. Before we start, it is good best practice, if the discovery document has error, we are returning an error. Okay, so after that, we have we would like to get the access token operation, and is get the access token. We would like to getting the access token with this using HTTP context get token async method, and HTTP accessor provide to access the token easily. So for that purpose, I'm going to use the HTTP context accessor, HTTP current context, and get token async. Of course, it will require the authentication namespace. I am importing this namespace, and also we would like to import the OpenID Connect because we are requesting the access token. We have already seen this line of code before when we developing our getting token operation from the delegating handler. So now we have a access token. Now with this access token, in these methods, we are going to retrieve the user information. There is another method from the IDP client, I mean extension method. You can see in here get user info async. You will see the other extension methods with checking this operation. For example, get discovery document async, get JSON, but we are using the get user info async. This provides the return user information, send the request to identity server, and get the response from the user information. So that's why we are creating a get user info method, and we are inside of that we are creating a request, new user info request. In this request, it is enough to give address and the token information. Address comes from our discovery metadata with using the user info endpoint, and token, we have got the token with this get token async method. So very good. Now we have a user info response from the identity server. If there is also, we can check if there is an error, we should throw an exception. We have a is error property when we are calling the identity server. So now we are ready to match our user info response with our dictionary, right? So I'm going to create a dictionary and adding the claims into the dictionary. Yes, as you can see, this is a key value string dictionary, and we are for each iterating the claims from the user info response and adding these claims into our dictionary, and we are returning dictionary with adding the parameter with user info view model, because this v model is our page v model, so that's why we have created the user info dictionary and we are injecting the user info dictionary as a constructor. Now we are ready our user information. We only now moving the claims, but you can get the other information with the user info response. Okay, let me summarize what we are doing in here. First of all, we inject the HTTP context accessor. So after that, in get user info method, first we get the metadata from the identity server. After that, we get user info with this metadata and existing token from the OpenID Connect. So by this way, we can reach the user info and populate the RV model in order to show in the UI. So now we can develop our user interface. So for the user interface, I'm going to open the views, go to movies, and I'm going to create a new view, right click, add new view. This time we are going to implement our HTML output. So I'm going to give the name only admin and click the add. Yes, this will be the Razor page CS HTML. So I would like to use the model of the user info model in here. Let me write one by one. We are defining a model, user info model, and also of course we are giving the title name, and this will be the basic HTML operations. I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, as you can see that we have a caption which name is only admin, and we are creating the table, and in the table rows we are iterating the user info dictionary from our model, user info model, and we will directly write down the key and value in here. So this will be the user claim key and the value information, because we returning the user claims when we are performing the actual operation in the movie API services. So that's all. Finally we can run our application. For running our whole application, let me put the breakpoint in here, and I would like to debug our actual operation, get user info, and let me run our application and see what's happened. Of course we are running the whole application, the tree application. All the application should be run and up. Okay, yes, let me log out first, and this time I am going to log in with the Bob user, because the Bob user is the admin role and only he can see the only admin page. What's happened? Is there any debugger? Yes, there's a debugger. Let me remove this debugger. Also remove this one. Okay, now our page comes very good. Now once I am clicking the only admin page, it will get user info from identity server. We will see on the debug. Yes, this is our actual method, get user info from the movie API service. And let me F10 one by one. We are getting the metadata, and we also get the access token. Very good. Okay, in this line of code, this is our crucial operation. We are get user info with this access token and with this user info metadata response user info endpoint. You will check the other endpoints under the metadata definition, I mean discovery document, but we are now focusing on the user info endpoint. Let me F10, and now as you can see that we have a user info response, full of user info response. You can get additional details in about the user with this response. As you can see that there is a JSON response, a name, given name, all of the claims and the other details will be including in the user info response from the identity server. Very good. After that we are mapping this into our dictionary, and we are returning to our dictionary operation, and now we are expecting that, yes, as you can see that we have creating this HTML page and key value pair is working ready. Okay, very good. As you can see that we can able to get user info and listing in the admin page, which authorized only admin role. In the next section, we are going to implement Ocelot in the middle of our architecture.